Alright everyone, Wednesday's video and we're hurtling towards Saturday's big derby at this stage. We check up, how are we all doing, how are you all feeling about the game? I'm kind of relatively calm considering. I've not quite had the game take hold of me yet, the nerves haven't quite set in. It certainly doesn't feel to me like this Saturday is the defining game, the one where we can effectively wrap the league up, the opportunity we've been waiting for. I spoke about that yesterday, but I'm kind of, calm but quietly confident at the moment. I don't expect the calmness to stay with me. I think by tomorrow I'll probably be a nervous wreck like I always am for these matches. But how are you feeling? I mean, it's a huge game, but, you know, I think the team have the ability to just stick to their task and get the job done on Saturday. That's kind of how I feel. I reckon they're just having a normal kind of week at Lennoxtown preparing for the game. Yeah, we've got some more derby chat for you on today's video, and I was going to say other stuff. It's mainly derby chat, but that's not a bad thing. And we start with the referee and the wider team of officials for Saturday's game. As you will probably know, that's announced on Tuesday mornings at 10 a.m. So we know now the referee for Saturday, and it is Willie Collum. He'll be assisted by David McGeechee and Ross McLeod. The fourth official is Don Robertson. Stephen McLean is on VAR, and he'll be assisted by Graham Stewart. We've actually also got the team in for our following match away to Kilmarnock next week. That match will be refereed by Don Robertson. The assistants are Graham Stewart and Frank Connor. Fourth official Ewan Anderson. Greg Aitken on VAR there, assisted by Dougie Potter. So yeah, Willie Collum is a pretty controversial appointment with regards to our rivals. I'll just quickly outline why, because you may be wondering, and he has had a few run-ins with them over the years. He also famously gave Rangers a penalty in a derby match when he didn't even see the incident, so there is always that. But yeah, Rangers have used some pretty dangerous language about Collum in recent years, as far as I'm concerned. In 2018, they claimed publicly there was an underlying issue with Collum and made a formal complaint to the SFA. Collum didn't actually referee a Rangers match for a good period after that. If we fast forward to this season, he was the video assistant referee for our derby win at Celtic Park back in December. Again, Rangers spat the dummy out at a potential claim for a handball from Alistair Johnson not being put forward for a pitch side review by Collum. It was a handball, if we're honest, but further analysis concluded that Abdullah Sima had been offside in the build-up to that attack, something that would have been checked fully had the handball been put forward for an on-pitch review. Yeah, clearly offside. Regardless, Rangers requested to the SFA that Willie Collum wasn't involved in any way in any of their matches going forward, something that was immediately rejected by the SFA. However, Collum has refereed only one Rangers match since December. It was a Scottish Cup tie against Scott Brown's Ayr United. But now he's in the middle for the big one. And to be honest, like when it comes to experience, he's the most experienced referee we have. It's the biggest game of the season anywhere in Scottish football, and I think it's only right you have the most experienced man in charge of that one. I guess these refereeing things always get people talking, and they can certainly have an impact in the game. My own feeling about this weekend is, while I've always got like VAR in the back of my mind and game-changing decisions, I think for me the big frustration with the last derby match at Ibrox was like the kind of small decisions made in the game that had overall had a large effect on the way that game was played. And I'm talking about the yellow cards dished out willy-nilly to Celtic players in that first half, while Rangers players seemed to get away with warnings, if that, for very similar challenges. I think as the game went on, that had a bit of an effect. I remember Nicholas Kuhn basically being nullified, his threat being nullified once he'd picked up a yellow card. I think maybe Alistair Johnson and Dyson Maeda, maybe Matt O'Reilly also picked up bookings in the game for very little. So that would be my thing for Saturday. I hope Willie Collum lets the game flow, because I think when the game is played in that way and it's not broken up by free kicks everywhere, then it plays to Celtic's advantage more so than Rangers. And I think the fans have a big part to play as well. I think for a referee, even subconsciously, there's always the effect of supporters on a match, and maybe that's what we saw at Ibrox. Maybe that's one of the reasons for why Celtic players were picking up more bookings, because you had 50,000 Rangers fans exaggerating every single one of our challenges and playing down every one of the Rangers challenges, and I think we can have that effect this Saturday. That kind of leads me on nicely to the role that the fans are going to play on Saturday, and that's something that Liam Scales has been chatting about in the media last night, and he reckons he's seen a change in the support since some tricky days earlier in the season. I think there was a spell in mid-season when we struggled to create a lot of chances at home, and it was definitely a bit nervous. We could feel it in the atmosphere as well. The fans have been brilliant though, home and away. Sometimes we go away and it still feels like a home game. It's definitely switched a bit at home in recent times. They have really bought into it, and they have been right behind us. It's more about us being exciting to watch and showing them what we are all about. You can definitely feed off the atmosphere. The energy dictates how players are going to play. If you do the right things, they will be right there with you. It's been great. There have been times this season I've really felt that energy. There's been some tackles that have felt like scoring goals. You come away feeling really good. It just gives you that buzz and belief to keep going. The atmosphere is going to be electric on Saturday. They pretty much always are for these games, never mind one that is going to have such a meaningful say on where the league title goes this season. It really is a defining match, and I think the Celtic supporter are going to buy into that. I mean, the atmosphere last Saturday, from what I hear, was the best of the season, possibly even better than the last derby at the end of December. So I think this Saturday is going to be incredible. I always look at the Champions League games, and the derbies are those are the games when Celtic Park's at its loudest. And I think in the Champions League, you're playing against some of the best teams in Europe, and I always think it's more about encouraging Celtic than actually affecting these teams. Most of them don't really get affected by the noise. It happens occasionally, but I think certainly in recent years, the quality of the teams we've played, they've just been able to deal with it, and the atmosphere has been more about galvanising Celtic. I think it's different in these derby matches, because I think Rangers are genuinely that fragile in this kind of atmosphere that you can actually have an effect both ways. You can bring up Celtic, and you can also really affect them, get under their skin. Obviously the team can do that on the pitch as well. This is going to be the final derby with no away fans, and while I personally feel that's not a situation that I've enjoyed, and I'm glad it's coming to an end, I think we have a real opportunity this weekend to, as I say, really get under their skin. We've seen that happen on a couple of occasions where they have totally faltered in the heat of the atmosphere and the quality and tempo of the team's performance. Obviously the famous 3-0 game, February the 2nd, 2022, that would have been. And we had the one that following September, the 4-0 game. Obviously that February the 2nd atmosphere, for me, that's something that you're not going to reach that level of noise, because I think there was so many factors that night. The biggest one being that it was a nighttime game, but I think this Saturday it can still be very loud and can affect them. And as I say, it's the final derby with no away fans, and I think we have a real chance and a real opportunity to really impact the game. to get behind the team and hopefully roar them on to an early goal. If we can get that, I just think things are going to look, really good. We've shown an ability to go away from home in these derbies with no fans and get results. We've seen that, this season, 4 points from 6 at Ibrox. I'm not sure Rangers have that ability. They may, prove me wrong at the weekend, but I just think they kind of struggle with that same leadership when the chips are down and the atmosphere and everyone inside the stadium is against them. So I think that's going to be very interesting to watch this weekend. But, for me, Rangers are still a dangerous side this weekend. The thing that's most dangerous about them is they're going to be throwing everything at us. It's their final chance to win this league, and they have to win this weekend. A draw isn't going to get it done for them. So they're going to be throwing everything at us. And they're also underdogs, which I think makes them dangerous. We've seen ourselves that we've been underdogs kind of for all 3 derbies so far this season. Okay, maybe the one at Celtic Park was, pretty even with us having home advantage, but certainly going into the last 3 derbies, they've been the team that have been talked up by the media, and we've kind of been struggling for whatever reason. I think this is probably the first one where maybe the majority of people, even some of their fans, are expecting us to win this, and I guess that brings a different kind of pressure, and we'll have to wait and see whether the team are ready to deal with that. Personally, I just think Celtic are so focused right now that won't be an issue. I think we're fine going out and being favourites and going and taking the game to them. But it's going to be a hell of an afternoon. Renowned Spanish football expert Guillem Balaguer will be one of those in attendance at the match, taking in his first Glasgow derby. We know this because he tweeted looking for a good live music venue for Saturday evening. I've got a few suggestions. Not sure if they'd all be up his street, but he will be one of the many big names in attendance, I guess. And away from the derby, just quickly, Celtic have announced that Georgios Samaras will be returning to Celtic Park for the Legends game against Borussia Dortmund on Sunday, the 26th of May. Samaras will join the likes of Stilian Petrov, Mikael Lustig, Artur Boric, Jan Vennegoor of Hesselink, Scott Brown, Gary Hooper and Emilio Izaguirre. Hell of a lineup there, and some more names to be announced, I'm sure. That's all to come, but for now we're very much focused on Saturday. Stevie will be on the channel on Friday for a big preview ahead of the game. I'll also be back tomorrow to continue the build-up. Let me know how you're feeling ahead of the game. What's making you feel good about the match? What's giving you some anxiety? Fire your comments away and I'll bring up plenty of them on tomorrow's video and just get a general feeling for how we're all feeling ahead of the game. And if you're among the 53.7% of people watching this who aren't subscribed to Celtic AM, please do it now. It costs you nothing and really allows the channel to grow, and we've got some big things ahead, so please click subscribe. It's an incredibly easy thing to do. Okay, do it now. Back tomorrow.